show was so well written. Um, it, it it's it was I had a feeling that it was going to be a big hit. But I've had that feeling before about things I've been in, and that hasn't been the case. So, one always hopes that will happen. But so in a way, I wasn't surprised. And Sean Ryan, who created it, is such a brilliant writer with his team. So I felt like I was reading, in the when you're reading a novel or something and you're reading a page turner, this was a page turner of scripts. I couldn't wait to read the next one, and I just wanted to know what was happening. And that doesn't happen very often either. So I wasn't surprised, but I was thrilled because one never knows.
And tell me, landing the gig for the night agent, was it the usual process that is nowadays in terms of taped audition, self-taping, and send your talent agents sending away? We might have this role. It's all wrapped in secrecy in terms of this sort of character X, Y, and Z. Will you do this tape audition? You send it away, not knowing will you ever hear anything, and then out of the bloom something happens, or is there a different sort of story behind it?
That is the story. You got it. I mean, are you an actor? Do you do this? You seem to know
I've
that.
done hundreds of these interviews, so I know what the gig has been like since COVID in terms of that, in terms of the days of the traditional audition where you're standing between four or five movie directors. That seems to be a thing of the past. It seems to be the Stone Age now.
Yeah, I think it is the Stone Age, sadly, because there's something really lovely about that. But yeah, I actually auditioned for this in a hotel room in Puerto Rico 20 minutes before a friend of mine got married. I got the audition as I was getting on the plane, and I thought, oh no. I've done auditions before when I've been on vacation, and sometimes they happen and sometimes they don't. And I thought, I'm gonna have to give up a whole day of my vacation to learn this and do this. So my agent talked me into doing it, and he said it's a really probably going to be a really good project, and you should really do it. And I was curious about playing a president. That seemed really interesting to me. So I did the audition. My friend helped me. I quickly got dressed and went down to the wedding after we did it, and I quickly sent it off. Didn't even look at it or anything. But I had a sense of possibility with it, which doesn't mean it's going to happen, of course, but it felt right for me to play the president. I don't know how to say it other than that. But it did. So when I heard that I got it, I was thrilled, of course, but I kind of had a sense that it was a possibility just because it felt right.
Yeah. And Kari, in terms of the main cast that was involved, Luciana, Gabriel as well, were you on the set for the first day of filming, or did you get to meet them later on? I think you arrived in one or two episodes down the line in terms of the start of the season. So did you get to meet the assembly straight from the off, or did you arrive maybe a week or two into shooting?
I met Luciane and Gabriel before we started shooting, just doing some camera tests, makeup, hair makeup tests, things like that, before we started shooting. And we block shot. We did block shooting of the episodes, which means you put a couple of episodes together and then you shoot them always out of sequence all at the same time. And so we actually shot episode 3 and 4 first, which is sometimes what happens, so that the the actors and the filmmakers and everybody sort of get their footing in the characters and in the process before they start with the first episode. So that the first episode is there's no hesitation there, if that makes sense. So anyway, I met them before we started.
And the important aspect of your character is the friendship that she has with Diana Farr, who's played by the actress Hong Chow, who plays the character Diana Farr. And we get to learn about their friendship down through the years, how basically Diana is self-devoted to President sort of Travers, but maybe she's a bit OTT in terms of a bit over the top. And dare I say, Michelle begins to suspect that.
Yeah. I think that is an accurate portrayal. They're old friends. I think it's even said in the show that at some point she held the president's hair, my hair, while I got sick in college. So they were really, really close friends, trusted allies. And then there is a hint that that might not be the way forward, that something untoward might be happening.
Get a sense of joy and anticipation? And was there a bit of not knowing what was around the corner in terms of your character, in terms of filming that sort of scenes, and where you're like, oh, this is sort of real, sort of spicy, it's up the ante in terms of President Travers?
Yeah. Well, Sean Ryan and his writing team had written all the scripts before we started shooting. It was set. And so I did know what lay ahead, which is incredibly helpful as an actor. But while we were shooting it, it was astounding how the kind of, there's different qualities of productions depending on what you're working on. But the quality of what was happening, the special effects that they were going to put into the plane crash and uh, all of the Secret Service people speeding in, being in the black SUV with the Secret Service people and being sped off with that. It was exciting. And Gabe, who is our lead, um, he's a bit of a Tom Cruise character in that he likes to do all his own stunts, and he's an athlete, and so watching him run, and when he came up in and grabbed me, it was quite intense because he's in it, and he's doing it. So I did feel like uh, we were we were in that kind of an intense situation because he was so present in that place, and the world around us had been set up properly to create that scenario.
Yeah. And Carrie's obviously since The Night Agent, I know filming it, you get a sense of what it might be, but when you see it in the flesh and you see it on the TV screens or the streaming platforms, were you even taken back by the sort of the finished product?
I thought it was excellent. I was thrilled at how good it was, how well done it was, and the care and the intelligence around the final product. As I said, the writing was so good, but the whole everything needs to be good for the show to be good. So everybody from the beginning to end, post production, pre production, everybody cared to make that show great, and it's a thrill to see that it was and that it was so well received. It's super exciting to be on a project like this.
Yeah. And Carrie, before we came on air, you spoke briefly about another concepts that you're involved in heading into 2025 in terms of projects featuring Kari Matchett. Carrie, you might enlighten us about those if you have disclosure to tell us.
Sure, I'm on a new show. NBC has just begun to air called The Hunting Party. My character shows up in about episode 5. I was literally called the Mystery Woman. So it's another show, like you described, Night Agent. It's wrapped in mystery, and I can't say a word, or I will be taken out by the NBC gods. But yeah, it's a fun show, fun as an actor. Not It's sort of wrapped in a lot of darkness. So not a hilarious show, but I think a really well done show. So I'm happy to be a part of that show, and that's happening on NBC now.
And Carrie as well, I do believe you have strong connections towards Ireland and you've been here in the past as well.
I have been to Ireland, and I was there quite a long time ago. Spent some time in County Kerry and County Dingle, but I have very dear friends who live in Geashel in County Offaly, Jim and Catherine Hamilton, and they owned an award-winning pub there that they've actually just recently sold called Hamilton's. And they are the parents of my very, very good friend Catherine Hamilton, whose sister Fiona and her family also live in Ireland. So I just wanted to say hello to them, send them my love.